area is very hilly, as you can see, because you're in the mountains. The houses are different colors, and it's just incredible. Okay, to see these colors and to be surrounded by this. This could have been a sketch taken from what I was looking at. Probably not, but this is a direction that my sketches can go into. And as I'm drawing this, I'm interested in shapes. I remember sort of to the left to center, you see what could be like windows. There's three semi-oval shapes. There were windows on the side of the building that I was interested in. So maybe I started with that. So the shapes engaged me. Okay. This could be a gouache from that sketch. I don't know. I don't keep up with it. But it could be. It's got similarities to it. This is one of my gesture drawings. We all know what a gesture drawing is. So I do hundreds of these, and in gesture I can find shapes that I can go back at night and do my gouaches from. And then I will look at these drawings in the studio back in New York, and I don't even look at the gouaches once I get back, except that I photograph these. I just look at the. I keep saying this, but you know it's important for me. I find a shape. You know, I could do an infinite number of. Well, that sounds too cavalier. I could do maybe 4 or 5 paintings from this drawing, starting with different shapes, right? And each painting would be different because I'm not painting the drawing. It's a shape, and then one shape will inform another shape, and then the colors start coming in, and then I start working with the push and pull, which is also intuitive right now, and colors just intuitive. Okay. Let's see. It's possible that I was looking at the gesture drawing that we just saw, and it was a catalyst for this painting. This is acrylic, and you can see here that I'm working with, you know, translucency. If you could zoom in on this, how it's painted is important to me also. There are, you know, you can see brush marks, the width of the brush, how it's building up. It's the paint. When I look at a painting that shows and so forth, I look to see how it's painted, and I look at the paint, how the paint was applied, how many layers were used in building it up. You know what color shapes butt against it. Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's good. I think there's one more slide.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. All right. This is one. Like maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, I did this in March. You know, on some cloudy day. You know, I mean, if a Martian came down from Mars and he looked at this painting, he would need to know that maybe it was done on a cloudy day. It's just it has a lot of luminosity. Light is one thing that I'm concerned. Another thing that I'm concerned in with my painting, and I like to get a sense that it's lit from behind, that it doesn't have a spotlight on it, but it's lit from behind. And my paintings change from year to year. They just naturally. Well, that's a bad word, naturally. They evolve somehow on their own. The thing that I will carry with me from year to year is maybe a color palette, because I don't always like to feel I have to find a new color palette for every painting. You know, if I'm using these same colors in another painting, it's okay because it's a different painting. And sometimes I will stop myself looking at the paintings on the wall, and I would say, oh, there's too much red in these paintings. Then I would deliberately make a choice to start using another color, like a blue to be dominant. But then I let go, and maybe it could go back to an orange. But this painting, again, if you think back to the church interiors, the gesture drawings, the sketches, this is where this comes from. And it may have come from this. Now, this is why I like photographing everything that I see there, because it's just so visual. And you know, camera has a way of framing it. It puts a frame around it. It doesn't have peripheral vision. So you can find different shapes with the camera. But I don't use it. I don't use it for painting. I keep saying this. It's my mantra. I use the drawings. I use the drawings. I use part of the drawings. And this is the last painting that I have. And maybe it came from the domes that we just saw. Maybe a shape in that. I did a drawing, a gesture drawing. There was a shape that caught my eye. I will open up my sketchbook and I'll flip through, and before I start painting, and I'll look for a drawing that catches me. It's a shape in that drawing, and I'll set it up so I can see it 8 feet away from my painting table, and I will look at that, and I start with that shape, and it goes from there. But in the painting, it's the shapes as well as the color, and it's this push and pull that I was talking about. That's important to me. And it's the interval. Like, I'll show you another interval. If you can go, there's a V. Well, I know you can see them yourself, and so I don't mean to be so heavy-handed here, but there's a V, the red V. If you could zoom in on that area, this red V. I don't. Okay, this is good right here. This is good right here. Yeah. So if you see this green shape, right, and this sort of pinkish area next to it, that shape, and the pink area on the other side, and there's a little bit of green right there. That's the intervals that I'm talking about, and that comes from building paint. It's not that I go back and paint those in. It's what I leave when I'm painting. And I can see that I'm leaving it, and I can think to myself without words that I want to leave that, or I can be painting it. And when I'm adding more color, I can say to myself without words that I want to leave that area, right? I visually see that I want to leave that little pink strip there. So it's a part of the painting process. I build my colors as you can see here. And there's the translucency, the brushwork. In the upper third, there's the blue shade. You know, and I've forgotten the names of colors. You know, it's not important to me. This may be like a cerulean blue, maybe, but you get a sense how that is built up. You know, layer after layer, and then the transparency. The transparency can give you things in painting that you can't get painting opaquely, for me. And so I like to have, sometimes I like to see the brush marks. I like to have what used to be called the modulation of a shape. Like going back to this green shape that we were, no, let's take this green shape that's on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side. And you can see all the tonal changes in it. That's real important to me. That's another thing that I'm concerned with is how these shapes are drawn with paint. And if when I'm painting more opaquely, I can't get that. I have to get it another way. Like in this yellow right here, that's sort of in the center, that sort of orangey yellow, and there's a green sort of yellow out there, which obviously, you know, has more opacity. And so you have to build that in a different way. And so, you know, building the colors, building the surface, the push and pull, opacity, translucency, and it's about shapes that I see in Mexico. I've gone to Mexico now for 4 years, but I wasn't able to go this year. So I'm really going through the sketches that I've done over the sketches. When I look at the gouaches, yeah, I am this year to look at the gouaches, just to see the color. It's good that I have done so many, and of course I want to go back, and that we all find a place where we want to go, and New York is a great place to be, but it's a great place to get away from. It's like my brother was saying one time when he was visiting me. This is not my attitude. A lot of people say this when they come to New York. They say it's a great place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. And I know you've heard that. And for me, it's a great place to live, to be around all the art, the artists. It like pushes me on. It gives me energy to compete with myself. I'm in competition with myself. And there's a whole vast array of artists that I can do films on. Right now, I spent 5 years doing Paul Russica, 5 or 6 years, and I spent this past year editing. I had about 50 hours of footage on Paul, and I'm editing that down to 29 minutes. And I've started a painting on the fabulous, wonderful painter Frank Holliday. We started shooting last fall, and we were going full blast. Just to tell you a saga here, he had his gigantic opening in Chelsea, and I was filming it, of course. And a week later, the COVID really became an issue here, and all the galleries closed. So I haven't done any shooting since last February. You can't interview people wearing masks. And I haven't been to an art gallery.
Oh, wow.
February.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
that was really